Okay, time to bring it on.
Okay.
This first one is from Elizabeth, who says, Pat, I'm very concerned because this past weekend, my 6-year-old grandson said that his dad told him God and Jesus were not real and were just made up to scare people about dying. I tried to explain the truth to him, but he won't believe me. I'm worried for my grandson's soul.
Well, you should be. If there's any way you can get that child away from it, this is his grandfather who's telling him
It's
this.
his father.
Father telling him that.
So I don't know if that's her son or her son-in-law. She doesn't really say.
I don't know. And but if there's any way you could get him enrolled in a Christian school or get him into some, they have daily vacation Bible school and things, or a youth group. There are all kinds of things you could do to kind of get him into some positive influences.
You know, another thing that would be great for her would be Superbook.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's all Bible stories, and
get a set of that and show it to him and see what happens. All right.
Okay, this is CJ, who says, Dear Brother Pat, I am puzzled. I have not been to church in over 3 years, but I still give tithes and offerings. My question is God still receiving my tithes and offerings? Am I covered by the ministry that I tithe to? I want to go back to church, but I have no means to get there. What should I do? My disability check just isn't enough to pay a car note. Help.
If you want to go to church, why don't you call a church and tell them, look, I'm disabled and I need a ride. Mm-hmm. And I believe that there must be some churches who would love to have an outreach program that many of them do. They have cars that go out in neighborhoods and bring people to church. Same thing with you. But no, your church attendance doesn't have anything to do with the fact that you're going to heaven or God receives you. He looks at your heart. And if your heart is loved to Him and you have been born again, you've given your heart to Jesus, the Lord receives you. All right?
This is Aliyah, who says, Dear 700 Club, I'm Aliyah and I'm 12 years old. My brother has been having issues. My parents believe his brain is messed up, but I think there's a bad spirit in him. When I tell my parents this, they say I'm crazy. I need God to help. I haven't gotten an answer yet, but I won't stop believing in Jesus.
You know, I can't long-range advise you as to whether your brother has a problem with demons or whether he has a schizophrenia or
chemical imbalance of some kind.
Some chemical imbalance. I don't know. He needs a doctor to tell you that. But I do know that God has an answer, and He has an answer to all the medical problems, and He has an answer to spiritual problems. Your job, I think, is to pray, love Him, and hold before Him the truth of the Lord. And you're doing a good job at that, so keep it up.
Okay, this is a viewer who says, I was visiting a church with a Christian friend of mine. I was shocked that the pastor was openly gay and talked about this with everyone. I asked my friend if he accepted this, and he said he did because he didn't think it was a sin. I left the church later and told my friend I would not be going back because I think this is a sin against Christianity. Was I right or wrong to leave?
The Bible is very explicit about that. In the Old Testament, it's called an abomination. It's abomination for a man to lie with a man as with a woman, an abomination. The Apostle Paul said, no homosexual or adulterer or fornicator is going to enter the kingdom of heaven. So there's no question about it. And to have a church saying it's not a sin, it's okay, they're leading people down the road to perdition, and it's a shame. But if I were you, I'd stay far away from them because they're not, you know, we love the sinner but hate the sin, but nevertheless, it's a problem.